Hey, everybody. Richie laughs at me because I seem to be super happy once I say, hey, everybody.
No, I'm like, and she just jumps.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Five Boys in a Business. And we're super excited. Here comes Harrison again to fix the mic. It wouldn't be a podcast without Harrison fixing the mic. Sorry about that.
There you go. You can't see you, though.
Check.
Put it over to the side.
All right, Five Boys in a Business podcast.
See how I've got mine?
Thanks for everybody. Yes, I don't need
shot.
two sound people.
Look at the shot. They can't see your mouth.
Okay, it's fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
All right, today we're here as the pre-recorded podcast because
Sunday morning, bright and early.
We were on a trip. So catch us on all the podcast venues and platforms.
Spotify, iTunes.
Our Facebook page.
Reallycoolpodcast.com.
That is not a thing.
That's not a real website. No.
Okay. So we are back from our trip because we went to learn and become learned in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, right outside of Phoenix, Glendale, the Renaissance Spa and Resort.
Yes.
I would say it was less a spa and probably less of a resort and more just a hotel room. It may have been a spa resort 20 years ago, 30 maybe, but definitely not now.
So
the peeling paint and stinky carpet would probably negate the fact that it was a spa slash resort.
It was a hospital, veterinary hospital managers association.
VHMA.
And bless them, they're trying.
They're trying, all right. Nothing like changing the logo 2 days into the thing and putting stickers on everybody's badges. Were you at the meeting last night? No, sure. Well, here, put this badge over the existing logo. It's like, okay, what?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
When did you guys print these?
So
you're really on top of it, aren't you?
So yeah, but they did have some good information. So we got back from that.
Yeah, that one class we went to was great.
And
it was awesome.
We went to more than that.
Inside joke time.
So it was good. It was fun and
it was good.
Phoenix,
yeah,
we've never been there. We went hiking on the Echo Trail.
Well, let's set it up. Okay, so the day started at 4 a.m. At least it did for me. Mm-hmm. I woke up at 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning because our flight left at 6:50, so we had to bust out of the house at 5:15.
And they're 3 hours behind us.
Yeah, and so they're 3 hours behind. So we're up at 4 a.m. Flight went great. Shout out to Southwest. You guys continue to impress. It's awesome. Flight was awesome. Actually got there a little bit early. Got the rental car. That was a bit of a snafu. We got to the thing. It's like 20 deep. It took me forever to get the rental car. And I had originally asked for just a compact car. And I get up there and the guy says, well, we're out of those right now for whatever reason. But do you want something sporty? It's like, how about a white Mustang? I was like, sure. Okay, great. Same rate. No problem. So we get the car. We're driving. We have a 2018 Camaro SS, so we're familiar with the big three sports cars. Wasn't real impressed with the Mustang, but
it was very punchy.
Anyway. It was a rental car though, so have to qualify it there. So we drive straight to the hotel. I'm thinking, let's just see what time check-in is. Maybe they can get early. It was only 9 o'clock their time,
right?
9 a.m. their time. But about noon our time.
Mm-hmm.
So we get up to the hotel, and luckily for us, we walk in. I say, hey, what time is it? She goes, well, if it's ready, you can go ahead and check in. So we went in and got our stuff, went up to the room. It was great. So we're thinking about, I think you might have taken a nap real quick or something, and or maybe. So they said, let's go do something fun, because there's nothing. The conference didn't start till the next day.
Right.
So we said, let's go for a hike. So we're looking through where's the best places to hike and all this stuff. And we find this one trail called Camelback Mountain, or it's Echo Canyon Trail. And we get up there, and it takes you to one of the highest peaks in Phoenix. And to kind of set the stage, Phoenix, if you look at it from above, it's basically a big valley, but dotted on the perimeter with mountains.
Mountains, yeah.
Mountains in air quotes. They're not really, they're hills. So we decided to go do this trail. And we get up there, and we had lots of water. I had a backpack with water on. And we started the trail, and there's a sign, and it's steep. It was about 1,200 feet of elevation. No, it was about 1,000 plus feet of elevation. And we get up to the sign, I don't know, 100 yards in, and says, it is really hard from here.
This is a very hard trail.
It's very intense, very difficult trail. If you don't think you can make it, stop now. And all these signs, don't go off trail, have water. There's been 10 people rescued already this year. And you're like, what are we walking into? Are you walking through the gauntlet or something? Or the Hun hordes right over the So we had the trail, and it was as intense as they warned you of.
Yes.
It was by far the hardest trail I've ever hiked.
It's because it wasn't a trail.
It was literally rocks. It was literally walking up steps 1,000 feet. And that doesn't even give it justice because the terrain is so rocky. There's no trail to speak of.
Nope.
It's all rock.
It is all rock. There's like maybe 100 yards worth of actual trail, like dirt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was entire rocks of varying size, boulders that you're basically climbing up.
Yeah.
A mile. It was a mile up.
It was over a mile.
1.2 miles or something like that.
Yeah, over a mile up, and we had to stop I had to stop. I mean, she kept, "Are you okay? You're breathing really hard." I was like, "Yeah, 'cause it's hard. Because I'm dying over here."
Ooh, it was good, though. It was fun.
Miss McFitness over here destroyed, and was always way
It was
ahead
fun.
of me.
It was. I'm glad we did it because it was an accomplishment.
Oh, my God, though. It was almost as hard coming down as it was going up.
Yeah.
I mean, my legs were trashed after that.
Yeah, it was. We were sweating so much.
And we get back to the room, finally get back down, and we burnt through all of our water.
Yep.
And it was clear why we'd burnt through all of our water because our clothes were soaked.
Yeah.
We're walking to the hotel. It's like, no, you really don't want to take this elevator with us. Just wait for the next one. You really don't want to be in here with us.
Oh my goodness.
So we did that. We did that, and
that was a lot of fun.
that was a lot of fun. And what did we go? Oh, we went to see. Was it that night we went to see the movie? No, it was the next night.
No, it might have. Yeah, it was the next night.
What did we do that night? I don't even remember.
Nothing. We were too tired, I think.
We just got room service, right?
Yeah.
Room service got to know us well.
Yeah.
So.
And then we went to the movie the next night.
We went to see Ad Astra. Emily was
Don't
a
go see that.
huge fan of this movie.
It's
and
horrible.
we walked out and said, the best movie ever.
It was absolutely horrible.
Cinematography was great. Story, plot line.
The pictures were pretty, and Brad Pitt is pretty. Other than that, it's ridiculous, stupid story.
Oh my God!
I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever watched.
It's basically Apocalypse Now in space. I mean, it's kind of stupid. It was about basically isolation, and I don't know what it was about.
It was about one guy's tormented
Yeah,
life,
but they didn't
basically.
really. And actually, somebody brought this up, and this happens a lot with movies. You'll see sometimes is you'll watch them, and then you'll go, okay, I bet there's a director's cut out there that's way better than this.
I don't even think a director's cut would be. It was so bad.
Well, okay, it was bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't really worth the money.
Nope.
And it was an IMAX, and it was so freaking loud.
It was so loud.
I had to put literally take a napkin and put it in my ears. It was so freaking. I told her, I said, I can't watch this. This is too darn loud.
It was very loud.
And it was loud even with the things in my ears. So, popcorn wasn't great.
It was just a bad.
I know, man. Phoenix, thanks a lot.
Take my money.
But we went to a couple classes and it was great. It was a lot to learn there. A lot of good information. A lot of the vendors were very informative.
Yeah.
It was a good trip. I don't know that I'll ever have an occasion to go back. We did stay right next to the Cardinal Stadium.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And I told Emily, I said, we should come back here sometime when the Colts play.
That'd be cool.
And I mean, because now you know the area.
Yeah.
And it was another thing that I thought was interesting was the terrain. It's so unlike the Midwest.
Oh, it's totally different. Absolutely.
It's very brown, very red.
Very brown.
And then we were driving back home after the hike, and I said, no one has a yard. I mean, no one has grass.
No,
it's all rock.
Yeah, it was really pretty much no yards.
And it must be because there's no water.
We were at, maybe, yeah.
It must be so arid.
Yeah.
That you can't. But yeah, nobody had grass hardly. Very little grass anywhere. But it was very hot. It was hot even for there. And the guy that rented, the guy at the rental car place said you came at a decent time. It's usually, I mean, if you've been here a couple months before, it's well over 100. I thought that's too hot. I couldn't do it.
It's hot.
But I bet in the winter, we looked at temps in January, February, March. It's probably gorgeous. Highs in the 60s.
Yeah.
Lows in the 40s. I bet it's nice. So that was the trip.
That was the trip.
Got back decent time last night. Watched the game on the plane. The only way to fly. Watched live football on a flight.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We got to watch the Notre Dame game live.
First half of Virginia Notre Dame. I thought for sure Virginia had a shot. And the second half came along and not so much.
Not so much. I was surprised yesterday at the airport at the number of, we were talking about this yesterday, the number of animals flying on airplanes.
Okay, not only the number of animals, we're walking on the whatever it is. What do they call it? Skywalk,
whatever.
Where it's moving, and this lady walks by with this little collie. This collie,
No, it was a corgi.
whatever it was, dropped a deuce right on the carpet, and she keeps walking, and she goes, "Oh my!" Emily says, "Oh my god!" And
I was like,
"Bro, somebody's gonna step in that." And then we get to the end, and we're waiting to be sat at this thing, and the guys in the carts. The airport personnel. Transport. He goes, "Where'd that dog come from?" Remember? And the lady goes, "It was a collie." He goes, "Are you serious?" Because as we were walking, one of those transports blows by. I was like, "Oh, he's going to smash that right in the carpet." I'll bet he did.
I was like, come on. Like, people.
I didn't see it happen, but I was like,
doing?
how do you know? I mean, normally dogs, they go, Oh, that lady was walking at a pretty good clip. So
Yeah, but she was pulling, like, she knew he was squatting to defecate. So then it's like.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, because she was trying to get him to go, like, move. He was walking, and she was trying to get him to move. I'm like, like, he's not going to wait till wherever he's going to wait to. Just don't take your dogs in the airport.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't understand that at all.
The rate at which they fly has definitely risen.
Oh, gosh,
Because the airlines allow it. When we were growing up, nobody had pets on their plane.
Most of the time, if people are smart, they'll put their dogs in a carrier, like beforehand, and then they'll like just keep them in the carrier, or like keep them. Like I follow somebody who has a dachshund who travels with him a lot, and he's older, but like he'll just like sit on his lap and then or stay in the carrier until they get into the plane.
Yeah, and then you have to go underneath the seat in a carrier.
It's like carry-on luggage.
So it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, they have to fit under there.
There was a lady getting on a flight, and the gate next to us had a full-on
golden retriever.
Yeah, golden retriever.
There were 2 labs that got off planes, and and I was telling you that there are people that truly need them. Like, they're a blind, somebody that needs
True service dog.
True service dogs. But I mean, these people who are just taking them.
Their emotional support. I'm like, I get it, but you don't understand the imposition you're placing on. I mean, if I'm next to a dog and they drop one in a plane, you're not getting that stink out of there until you land. You're just not. So what on earth are you thinking doing that? I mean, to me, I don't know. I think, I have my own opinion about some of those things. I think I don't know.
Anyway, it was fascinating to see the number of animals traveling. I was like, wow, this has really changed from, like when we were growing up.
Well, they had to actually, I told you yesterday, I read somewhere, I don't remember, it was some airline or a group of airlines that had to start to crack down on that because people were bringing
like
rats and squirrels and ferrets. It's like, come on, really? Bats and owls? It's like, really? Okay, come on.
Oh, goodness.
Wouldn't it be funnier than heck, an owl flying around the cabin?
I mean, it's fascinating because even us in the profession understand the value of the human-animal bond. But at some point, also, we understand the limitations.
Right. Yeah, I get that too.
As well. And there's a lot of what they call anamorphizing, where you're putting human feelings on animals.
Right.
And people do that. And, I mean, it's hard.
I was somewhere the other day. I might have been PetSmart. And there was a lady with her dog. I was buying some food. And she was talking to her dog like a human. And I thought, isn't that weird? That dog has no idea what you're saying. They have no idea what you're saying.
No, but it's of value to her because then it's...
No. But to your point of your anthropomorphizing of animals, it's like they don't understand what you're saying. I get the value. I understand it.
Right.
But it's interesting because people have conversations with their pet, and their pet simply can't understand what they're saying.
Right.
So it's a one-way benefit, I guess.
Let me ask you this, though. Since they don't understand what you're saying. When I talk to Moose like that,
Does he nod?
No.
Cock his head? Does he smile?
What I'm saying is, though, is like...
Does he give you the finger?
Does he wink?
No, he does not. Whenever I say...
Give you the digit? There's no finger.
There's 3 things.
Moose, bad manners.
There's 3 things. 1, you want to go upstairs. 2, you want to go potty. And 3, you want to cuddle. And he knows all 3 of those.
You want to cuddle?
Yeah. Like I'll like sit after like playing games. I'll come downstairs. I'll sit on the couch. I'll wrap my blanket on, and I'll just be like sitting on the wood floor over there, like on 10 feet from 5 feet from me. And I'll just like give me a dead stare. I'll look at him. I'll be like, "Want to cuddle?" And he'll be like, just book it to the couch, and then.
Maybe it's the tone of your voice, though. I've heard of that too. Like,
is it the tone of my voice, or does he know? Cause
like you're inviting him to come.
When I say you want to go upstairs, he'll go way near the gate, like the black fence that goes upstairs.
Right. But also, what are you doing when you're asking those commands?
Right. Maybe it's you sit on the couch, you get the blanket.
The fact that you're sitting on the couch with the blanket, so is one way. I mean, he does connect the word to the action. But if you were to be, it'd be interesting because if you were just to stand in the kitchen and say, do you want to go upstairs?
That's what I do, though. I say,
yeah.
Stand in the kitchen and say, do you want to go upstairs? He'll run over to me.
I do think they know commands like that. Obviously,
Yeah,
clearly
yeah.
they know commands. But like having a conversation, I don't.
Complexity of language. Like
Yeah.
when Winnie, if you train her to say kennel up,
She
and then
knows
she
that
kennels
means
up, but she doesn't understand. I mean, that could be savez ça va for her. I mean, she doesn't know.
Just have conversations with them just because. Make you want some dinner? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Do you lay the Wall Street Journal down and go, which one should we buy, big boy? He comes and points out, oh, that's a winner.
No, they do understand language. It is just
The complexity of language is what I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some of them, for some people, they think that dogs are completely motivated by, for
What's in it for
themselves.
them,
They're
right.
self-motivated. They only care about themselves. So what's good for them is good for them. I mean, they'll do anything that if it's good for them.
Right.
And that's how that's how they survived.
Right, of course, they're pack animals, yeah.
But anyway, fascinating. I'll do some more research on language development in dogs.
You should.
And I'll come back with you with, I think they can understand, like, it's like, I can't remember the number. Like, if you look at different animal species, like birds, dogs, then primates, like there's like, I think, like 50 words, 100 words, like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's like so many, I
Commands they
can't
can
remember. Yeah, I
remember.
can't remember what it is. But,
It always cracks me up because people will say things like, and there may be some truth to this, I don't know. They'll say, dolphins have a cerebral cortex as large as, in terms of intelligence, that they'll equate human intelligence to these other species. And it's interesting because you think to yourself, okay, why haven't they made that leap over to where we, you know what I mean?
they don't have any thumbs.
Well, yeah, I know. They can't deal cards, can they?
a little wet slab in the ocean.
I'm sorry. I thought it was so funny.
They get on the ground dead.
They get on the ground, they're
I'm
dead.
thinking that's why they haven't made the leap.
There was one time they're talking about, there was this guy named something Soul, and there was an argument. They were trying to say the animals equate to humans in terms of rights and stuff. And he goes, I was in Alaska, and his bear broke into my cabin. I want to go arrest that bear. And I thought that mugshot of the bears, so stupid.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we're in Kookyville right now.
Okay, so
So anyway, back to sum everything up. The conference was great. Yeah, it was a fun time. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. It was good.
what would you say? You didn't have any fun hanging out with me?
No, well, I wouldn't say anything if I didn't have fun.
We're on the new series Downton Abbey.
I told her. I said it's. You've been watching a series too much. When I go to her and I go, why don't Matthew just marry Mary? I don't understand this. And Mr. Bates, what's he gonna do with his wife?
Mr. Bates needs to toss his wife overboard. Yeah, so we got hooked on that series.
What's
My
the
dad
blonde-
and my sister.
what's the
my older
blonde-headed girls?
sister loves that series.
Bates's love interest, Abby,
Anna.
Anna. Is it really Anna?
Yeah.
Anyway,
And so
you're like, poor Anna.
we've gotten hooked on that now. So we're watching that, and that was that.
That's a fascinating show. If there's any truth to that, if that's truly a window into the way things were pre-World
sure it
War
was.
One, it's fascinating. The class system,
Yeah.
how wealth was consolidated, and we were talking about yesterday the states and how wealth was passed down.
Yeah.
And how everything was based upon how that wealth. Your family, everything. You had to have a male heir because women couldn't inherit property. So there's a huge emphasis on injecting the preferred male somewhere,
Right.
so that succession of title will continue down the line.
Right.
It's fascinating. So
Yeah. Absolutely
cool.
fascinating. So yeah, so it was good.
it's a great show. Emily, you've got a big thing coming up tomorrow on Tuesday.
Yep.
Big presentation, your very first one. You're going to do great.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. We've certainly put enough work in. So
I'm giving a presentation for Zoetis on Monday and Tuesday.
yeah.
So I'll come back with stories about that.
Harrison will be there to document accordingly. So
That'll be
should
good.
a blast.
Let's see here. What else? Harrison asked me to bring a picture today. So I brought a picture of, because it's Colts game today. So I brought a picture of Holden,
Holding
a Colts football. Harrison, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
This is the new segment that you're doing, right? Where it's called the Family Picture of the Week.
Family picture of the week.
Right, just hold it there.
And this is Holdy. We call him Holdy because everybody's name in my
Starts with the E.
family, I just started
Emily,
this.
Richie, Callie, Harry.
I just started naming them
Trevi,
all
Johnny.
nicknames. And so Harrison was the first one, of course, and we called him Harry. And then there was Trevor, which so we call him Trevi. And then Holden, and I was like, ooh, that's harder. So we just started calling him Holdy. And it stuck. And he
Well,
didn't
you didn't
mind.
like Tommy. Remember I said,
No.
let's call him Tom. And you go,
No.
I don't like Tom.
No.
You met some Tommy at some point in your life you didn't like.
No, that's not it. I just liked Holdy better.
Hmm.
And then there was Johnny, and then now Calvin was also hard, but then we just said,
Callie.
Screw it. We're just going to call him Callie. So they all are, that's all their nicknames. But this is one of my favorite pictures of Holden because Holden has the best hands. And
He's always had meat hooks.
just thick, like strong hands. And in this picture, you can see his like little fat fingers. And they're so
Right.
freaking cute. And of course, this picture reminds me of what the house used to look like because when we first moved in, there was this completely unsteady. Do you remember that, Harrison? Like fort in the back corner of the house that was hooked on a tree. Do you remember that?
It wasn't hooked on a tree. I thought it was freestanding, wasn't it?
I don't remember. It could have been freestanding.
It was just like this 2-story looking little fort, like tree house. And I don't know if they used to swing off of it.
I don't know. We tore it down. Yeah.
The previous owners had done a lot of. I think their kids had done a lot of the construction work.
You don't remember that? And so
it was over a sandbox. Remember that?
Yeah.
There was like a sandbox back there.
underneath it or something.
Our house, the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm sure
I'm
I right.
staring
I
at a
tore it
picture
down.
of it right now.
Is that really? Let's see.
That's the fort back there. And
Show to the camera now.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Holdy-
that's Randy's yard. That's the thing we've got now.
Holdy's, no, that's not Randy's yard, babies.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. That's
It's not the people to the left, right of us, and it's not the people behind us.
it's the people behind us. It's okay.
No, it's not actually.
It is. And so, Mr.
It might be, I
Poor
don't know.
memory. Okay. So anyway, Holden was so proud of that Colts football. So it was super cute.
Let me
and
see.
his smile, he always
that the
just
signed
makes me
one?
laugh. He was just so freaking cute.
Let me see.
So, yeah. So he was on the trampoline and he had gotten a Colts football because I think we had gone to a Colts preseason.
Oh, that's when we bought that at the Grace Gala. Remember the
Yeah.
cheerleaders came up there?
Yeah.
Because it was him and Jack that were with us.
Yeah.
And then the cheerleaders walked in. We were about to leave.
Yeah.
And the 2 cheerleaders walked in, like I'm sure to work the booths or
Yes.
whatever. And, being cheerleaders, Harrison and Jack were
We're
like,
like, whoa.
stop dead,
cheerleaders.
jaw drops. It was hysterical.
Yeah. So Holdy had gotten a football that day.
And I think I remember thinking of that. And never mind. No, no,
So anyway, it still looks like him. He still looks like that. It's so cute.
You know what's funny about the kids too, and this reminded me of Holden now, and what it is about young men, and at that age, they are just strong as oxes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm sure I was that way too. But I remember Harrison. We were. I was ripping out. I told the story before. I was ripping out some steps. And I'd rented a jackhammer, and I had taken I'd hauled all the pieces of concrete over to this dumpster that we had. And I didn't want to lift them up by myself because I just lifted them up into the wheelbarrow and wheeled them over and dumped them. And I didn't want to lift them up over the lip of the dumpster because it was heavier, it was higher. So I said, Harrison, will you come out here and help me do it? And I think you're playing games or something. I said, come out and help me a minute. He's like, I was going to do it. It's like, all right. I remember he had on a white shirt, like a white T-shirt or one of those running shirts or whatever. And he comes in 5 minutes later, and all the shirt's dirty. I was like, "Did you get all that in there?" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "So what did you just manhandle those things in there?" Like it was nothing.
Yes, because if you were to help me, it would take way longer. Put the barrel this way. You want to tip it in there this way.
Well, I'm doing that because I don't want you to get it hurt.
Those are the Richie-isms. Just like we say Dad has the Steve-isms.
Yeah.
The Steve-isms.
Oh yeah. I remember your dad one time, as I've told this story too, that we were moving to South Bend, and I stopped at his house with my Toyota truck piled in the back, the bed with a lot of our stuff. And I get there. I'd already driven 6 hours to his house on the interstate. I was going 2.5 hours north to South Bend. And I come back outside, and he goes, I just wanted to tie this down a little more for you. I'm like, it looks like a spider landing on the back. It's like I could roll the truck and this stuff would come out.
That's a Steve-ism.
So it was great. It was I got those skills from him. I remember we did something else too. He was always really good at teaching, and I remember when we moved to South Bend, or we got our house in Granger. He and your mom came out to help us paint, and we were painting. And he goes, "You don't know how to do this, do you?" I was like, "No, I don't know how to do this." I was like, "Is it obvious? Is that obvious?"
Oh my God, he was always so meticulous.
Yeah, but he did good work though.
He did great work, and everything that he always did always looked good. And you did learn a lot from him in that regard. I mean, like just
Unlike my
making
poor
sure,
dad.
unlike your poor dad, but I mean, he was so good at teaching us all kinds of things. Even when we were growing up. I mean, he had me doing things that, you know, you just typically wouldn't have done. Like,
Right.
I mean, we had to put in a sprinkler system. We had to,
Which is unheard of. That's a heavy
which
lift.
of course is, you know,
That's a heavy lift.
we had to mow, of course. We had to clean the pool. We had to.
I had a couple of
Oh
experiences.
my God, we have stories about
I had a
putting
couple
that pool cover away.
I had a couple experiences with the pool cover. Your dad brings like a bushel, a gross of talcum powder out there.
Oh
Like,
my
there's
gosh.
this cloud of talcum powder.
I mean, nothing was ever done halfway. So.
Oh my God, he's like, it'll mildew if you don't do all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, well, it certainly smells good coming out of
It
that.
had a rubber. We had this thickened rubber pool cover, and
Which you don't see anymore.
every winter. I mean, you know, for the spring, you take it off and you had to clean it, you had to dry it, then you had to put talcum powder all through it. Yeah,
No.
except for it was
Yeah, but
solid. It wasn't
like
mesh.
Yeah, it wasn't mesh. It was like it was really heavy. And
Then you had to roll it up a certain way, and then you had to barrel that you had to
you had a
then
cardboard
put it
barrel.
in, and then you had to take the barrel and it had to go up into the attic. I mean, it was a deal. It was a
We spread mulch. Remember doing that? Your dad?
oh man, yeah, mulch. I mean, he had us. We did everything.
Didn't he have a schedule for you guys, like a spreadsheet you guys had to fill out when you mowed the yard?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember.
He had a clipboard in the. I think this is the right story. He had a clipboard in the garage that when the girls mowed the yard, they had to fill out when they did it and who did
Did he
it.
really have that? Oh my gosh, his garage was meticulous.
It still is.
I mean, everything. I remember we'd come home. He'd come home from work and I'd be out playing basketball or I would be whatever. And of course the garage door's up.
Right.
And he would always be like, why you got the garage door up? Put the garage door down. There was something about the garage door being
you get
down.
leaves in it.
So, yeah, there must have, like, you know.
Maybe I get that from Granddad then, because I hate when my things get out of place.
I do too. Though.
Oh,
I'm pretty
yeah.
meticulous too. I don't like. Yes, I am.
No, you're not. You'll leave things everywhere.
No, when?
Dirty butt.
Oh, I do not.
He leaves things everywhere.
This person does.
Everywhere.
No, I do not.
You know what Dad does? Is
Yes, you do. You leave your stuff everywhere.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
What's all over the what is all over the dining room table?
I told you my briefcase was wet. I had to take stuff out of there. I never take stuff. I never leave stuff.
I'm gonna start taking pictures in
So am
secret.
I.
I'm gonna take pictures in secret and then bring them.
no, Dad,
I'm gonna look and say those pajama bottoms aren't gonna get into the hamper by themselves.
recently the NES and the SNES Classic came out. And what Dad does with these consoles is he'll go downstairs, he'll turn them on,
Dude, that's not me. That's your brothers.
and then leave them on.
No.
Upstairs.
No. When I have them,
Power's out, and it gives me a heart attack.
no. Listen, honest to God, when I have them, they're in their boxes underneath the thing. I don't do that. That Calvin gets them out. It's not me, man.
You have any evidence?
Yes.
No, you don't.
Evidence. What evidence you gonna call a witness? Mr. Smith, when did you see this NES?
Anyway, so my dad, thanks Dad, you taught us.
No,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Hats off to Steve.
There's some great stories.
Great
some good
stories.
Steve-isms.
Yep.
So, okay.
See what else happened.
Okay, so the book this week, which you've read, goes into part 3 of our leadership book.
I'm sure it's excellent.
It really is excellent.
What chapter?
The book it's part 3. It's really like 2 chapters, but it's called part 3.
What's the book called again?
Leaders eat last,
Leaders eat last.
unless they eat first.
Ba-dum, boom, boom. And in part 3, there's really not a lot to glean from part 3. It's a short section. It's really setting up part 4, which part 3 usually does. But
Speaking of bad jokes, go ahead. Proceed.
it really is just giving you historical documentation as far as like the human population, like the United States and the human population in regards to why things are kind of the way they are now with the mindset of the people that went to World War II and then the people that had children after World War II. So the baby boomers, why there are so many baby boomers, and then what their thought processes are and why they do what they do. And that's pretty much
The boomers or the people World War II generation?
both.
Okay.
So he talks about why World War II people are the way they are, why baby boomers are the way they are, and then this sets up why business is trending in the direction.
Let
that
me
it
ask
is.
you a question because I haven't read that part. But my sense has always been that when a population comes out of a point of tribulation, like the World War II generation did, coming out of the Depression, and obviously the sacrifices and the loss that came with World War II, that their worldview is flipped such that their value system is very different from maybe previous generations that came about without that scarcity, without that hardship. And then the baby boomers came along after that with their parents saying, we don't want our kids to have to live like this or go through this. So they didn't have the benefit of those hardships. So you had a lot of, spoiled is a super strong word, but that's what led to like the 60s and the 70s and
he talks
all
about
those
that.
things, because you don't have that hardship to put things in context. I mean, I remember my grandparents, World War II generation, both were granddads were World War II vets. I mean, they had a very different worldview than like my dad and my mom did.
Oh yeah,
Very
but that's
different.
because they didn't want the kids to have to, like you said, go through. They themselves had gone through the Depression. They did not want the same thing to happen to their kids. He talks about that in there.
Right.
Speaking of that, I think that people my age and maybe a little bit younger, 2 or 3 years younger, there's like two halves. There's the people that get like that they're supposed to work, and like that, like you're supposed to work to make money and then rise, and then you'll make more money if you do
Right.
it right. And then there's the other part, I guess 3 part, and the other part which is like I just want to earn money real quick. And I guess the third part goes along with that, which is I want to become a YouTuber or a streamer and make all this money super quickly. It's
Yep.
sad.
Well, I think that that's not necessarily invalid if you've seen other people do it.
I know, but I hate when people say, "Listen, don't let anybody take down your dreams. Like you can do this if you keep." It's like you're like it's not. You're speaking
Okay,
of fault.
stop. Okay, yes, you can do it. People.
No, you're speaking of fault. Like it's just not. Like you're telling me that what they're saying is that if I stream 7 days a week, like 8 hours a day, I will eventually become like your level. Like
Okay, what's the alternative though? If you don't do it, for sure you won't do it. If that's your dream,
I'm not saying that you don't try it.
that's the point of those. That's the point of that advice.
No, what he's thinking, and I think what he's saying is that people want to get wealthy with no effort. They just want it to boom, go.
Yeah,
from,
but that is effort though. If you stream 8 hours a day, it is effort.
I know it is effort, but don't expect to just become popular and start growing because it just doesn't. It doesn't happen like that. Like it just doesn't.
People who anybody that tells you that if you do this, then this, 100% of the time, and it leads to lottery-esque type, gains. They're obviously they're not saying something that's true. However, if you put the work in, you will receive a gain. It may not be millions of XYZ. It may not be this windfall that these individuals have gotten, but it's not going to be for nothing either. I mean, I think
people are on the you're behind the 8 ball. I mean, it's already, that wave's already come and gone.
Yeah, people have been first to market. I mean, when I look at those things, I say, what do you want? And they go, well, I want this. And I'm like, what do you really want? I mean, because even if someone hands you a check for $10 million, great, you have the money. So what does that translate to? If you say, I want to be wealthy, okay, what does that really mean? Does that mean freedom? Does that mean time? I mean, what are you really looking for? And I mean, I think that's where people need to step back and go, what's my value system? What do I truly value?
I guess if I was a big streamer, like say Ninja, perhaps, right? I'm sure he gets questions about this all the time, saying, how do I get started in streaming? I want to be more like you. Like, how do I, do this? And I would literally tell them. I wouldn't tell them keep at it and you'll do a great job. Like, you'll definitely get followers and you'll start getting tips soon. I'd literally look at them and be like, it's like a tough road. Like, it's gonna take a while and it's not gonna be easy. And
yeah, but can't you say both? To say it's a tough road. I mean, say someone wants to be in the NFL and they're in the 6th grade, but they have the size. They could be D1 material at some point. You can say, listen, it's a tough road. The odds, 2% of people, D1 athletes go to whatever that number is. It's very small. Go to the NFL, but it's possible. It is possible.
What I'm saying is that not enough people say that. Like they don't. And normally they'll say, if you keep at it, and anything is possible. And it's like.
But that's true. That's a true statement. Anything is possible. What you're saying is that you're giving people false hope, and what I'm saying is that that's not necessarily true, because without a chance is still a chance. I mean, if someone said to me back years ago, if I'd said I want to go to law school out of high school, they would have said you're nuts. If someone had said you're crazy, if someone had then said it's possible, it's going to be hard, but it's possible for you to do it.
If you stream for a year and you're not getting as much growth trying to say. Like even if you're keeping at it consistent, doing everything right, like and you're not getting anything.
Yeah, but even the best people that I've heard say those things, they'll say, if you've been doing this for 3 years, something's not working, or you need to change up what you're doing. And that's what business is about. You try that, you take a risk, you try something. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you change course, you adjust, you do whatever you want. I mean, if somebody said, if you open a hamburger joint and your burgers are $50, and at the end of a year, it's like, I'm not selling any burgers. We need to change something. Either your quality needs to go through the roof, the quality/experience need to go through the roof to justify the price, or you need to reduce your price to meet the market. So I guess the point of all that is that try it, take a risk. I mean, because there's no reward without risk. Try what your idea is, but then adjust along the way. But you're never going to get there unless you try.
I think it's just going to be a big problem with the kids growing up now.
I think the issue with kids coming up now, and I'm sure there are kids out there going to shake their heads when I say this and say, "Oh God," and this sounds like a grandpa thing to say, but I do think the challenges they're going to face are that basically it's a lack of hardship. I mean, economically, they have no economic hardship since 2008. I mean, if you're 30, you've never really experienced true economic hardship. Where, it was 11 years ago. So, not 30, 25. So, if you can't, I've heard people say, if you can't make it now in this environment, low interest rates, excellent economy.
That's why I'm saying, my people my age, like me, Madeline, Casey, Katie, like all of us, like including all my friends.
Right.
You get it that you have to work, you have to work to make the money. Well, I think that people, probably capping at maybe Johnny, will start to, not understand that. Because I remember when I first got my job at Joe's, it was like a brick wall hitting me. I was like, because when you came out here, you're like, you're gonna need a job. I was like, why? And you're like, because you need to make money. It's like, but I have your money. It's like, wow.
Yeah, but everybody has that. Everybody has that realization. I had it. I'm sure Mom had it.
I guess. I don't know.
I remember my very first apartment. This is no joke. I'll never forget the first night or first couple nights in my apartment, looking around and going, oof, I got to pay for the lights. I mean, all the stuff that you take it for granted for so long, all of a sudden there's a relationship between your effort and the money that comes from that effort and what you can. So then you're always chasing. That's the initial chase. I don't want to live in this apartment anymore. I want to, how do I make more money? How do I do whatever it is? But that's not unusual. I think that comes with everybody. I mean, I'm sure you had it when.
Because you need that experience to start to thrive, right? Like while working at Joe's, Joe's is a great place to work, but while working there, I was like, I don't want to work here.
Yeah, but that's okay though. I mean, I think those are placeholder people.
Those jobs are meant to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, but I think for some people they're not. And so,
well, but that goes back to the whole, and this is a political soapbox thing, but that's the whole minimum wage argument. Well, you have to listen. If you are 10 years into a job and you're still making minimum wage, that's not your employer's fault. That's actually your fault, because those are supposed to be temporary placeholder jobs to give you that skill set, minimal skill set, to then move on to something else.
no, yeah,
That's really what it is. I mean, so
you have to have a starting base to
right.
see where you want to go.
So I guess my point is that,
But I don't think you can ever tell anybody that they can't do something.
oh no, I would never do that.
Meaning that I think that it's perfectly fine for people to think that they could try something, knowing that it may not work. I mean, it's fine.
But it could lead to something else.
And what I'm trying to say is I'm not telling people to not, that you can't do it. I'm just saying that I think that too many people give others false hope that look up to them instead of telling them the reality.
Yeah, but what if they serve as an inspiration though, and they come back 10 years from now and say, I really took this to heart, and this person said, I believe in you, I think you can do it, and then they did it.
Yeah, okay, well that's.
The risk reward. What if if someone tells 1,000 people that, and only 50 actually do what they advise?
I guess I should have included this as well. Is that some streamers will say, if you keep at it for a year, I guarantee you'll get 10,000 followers. It's that's not how.
Well, okay, so what you're saying is they're giving an implicit guarantee. If then this.
Yes, because you'll go on YouTube and find it this is the way to get 1,000 subscribers. At least it was a few years ago.
Right.
I remember vividly, I thoroughly watching multiple of those videos, and then started.
Well, but it also depends upon your content and the platform. I mean, for instance, your experience with game streaming. There's 1,000 people. What makes you different? Yeah, it's just like anything. And
honestly, if I kept at it to this day, I'd probably have my own little audience, because my highest view count was 15 people, 20 people.
Okay.
What?
I'm saying though, you just said if I'd kept at it. I mean, it's just the time and the effort.
Yeah, I know, but
So you're basically you're proving their argument is my point. You're saying if you continue to grind and put forth the effort and the content, eventually, assuming that your content is meeting your market need, then you'll succeed, or you'll slowly, whatever your success metric is.
But I didn't buy into the whole thing of where, if you keep doing this for a year, you'll get like 5,000 followers. Like I already knew that. I was like, there's no way. You can't.
I don't know. I think there's nothing wrong ever with inspiration and trying to build people up.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you never know. I mean, you could be the catalyst that
but
set
I just
someone
think
on a certain path.
I think people, it's their responsibility to look into it and say,
Yeah.
like for the streamer to say, hey, listen, if I do this, definitely anybody can do it, but it requires this of you, putting a year, on average, it takes most people a year. And the person on the other end of the conversation goes, can I really spend a year doing that for 8 hours a day? No. Okay, I can. And at the end of the year going, all right, well, it didn't do this, but I got halfway there. So maybe if I spend another year,
Can I tell you a true story?
Well, like Ninja's story is a perfect example. Like he didn't get to the point where he is now until, like he was streaming for like 6-7 years before like all of this stuff with Fortnite happened.
Yeah.
Like he's been streaming for like almost like 8-9 years before.
Yeah.
Anything really, and like he's had like a whole lot of like complications. Like he almost lost his eye because of like this like detached like retina.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's online. It's yeah.
No, but the common saying is overnight success usually takes a decade.
Right.
I mean, it just takes a long time. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was an undergrad, I was a finance major, and I met with, for whatever reason, I really got hooked on iBanking, investment banking. I was like, this is really what I want to do. And so I met with one of my professors. His name was Dr. Carey something. That might have been his last name. Anyway, we were in his office, and he gets out a sheet of paper, and he goes, what's your GPA? And I told him. And he kind of looked at me for a second. He's like, all right. So he sits down on a piece of paper, and he goes, you have to do this, this, and this. There are 3 ways to do this. You go to Yale, Harvard, whatever, get your MBA. He goes, it's probably not going to happen unless you destroy on the GMAT. And so anyway, he gave me 3 paths and basically gave me a roadmap for how to do it if I chose to do it. But his point at the whole end of this thing is, it is possible, but it's going to be very difficult. So that reality check, but he did give me a roadmap. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are so many times where people are telling you can't do something or whatnot, I think that if people were listening to that, successful
Right.
people wouldn't. I mean, the majority of successful people probably along their path have been told that's never going to work. You're never going to get there. You're never going to.
Don't you think the advice sometimes, I often think that advice, what you're really looking for is somebody just to confirm what you're already thinking. So if you think you can't do it, 10 people telling you can't do it just reaffirms what you're already thinking. If you think you can do it, then even if somebody tells you can, it doesn't really matter. How many people told us we couldn't do it?
Yeah.
I remember thinking, yeah, I can. Watch.
Right.
Please bet against me.
Right.
So, I mean, I think advice is good, but, you sometimes have to take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, it's kind of going back to the generation talk, right? Like people like Holden look at, I don't know, like any like entrepreneur or successful person who makes $500,000 and is like, all right, I want to do that. Like, let's look up the fastest way to do that. Because he was asking about that. He was like, all right, like if I want to make $500,000, I can go to school for 4 years, right? And you're like, well, no. You're like, you have to go to school for 8
No, but
years.
what fascinates me about Holden is he's actually talking about it.
Well, yeah,
He's
well,
17 years
well,
old.
yes,
I mean, I never thought about that back then.
Because he comes to the realization, is like, I will do this. Like, this
Right.
was a lot of work, but I'll do it. But then there are others that are like, I need to find like another shortcut or something like that.
Right.
There are no shortcuts to success. I mean, I think I always equate it to sports.
Have a hard time
I mean, if you want to run a marathon, you can't train for a week unless you're
No,
burning.
a lot of people do not get it. And maybe that's because people don't talk about it enough, how difficult and the things that are given up in order to get where you get. And I think that for the person who's looking in from the outside, it may look like, well, you didn't do that much to get where you are.
It's like lottery mentality almost.
But certainly with the generation's entitlement issues below us, I mean, it's going to be there are going to be people who get that they have to work hard, and those people are going to be extremely successful because you're going to have all the people around them that won't want to do it because they're too lazy to do it or feel like it should just be given to them.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see this unfortunately, I think what you'll end up seeing is a widening of the gap, because you'll have people who just think that because you did it, I should do it. I should get it. That whole thing of,
why do you deserve it?
You mowed the yard, but give me half of your wages, because I live in the house with you. Well, no, you didn't mow the yard, but right. I live next to you. Why can't I have half of what you know? I mean, it's just going to be ridiculous. But
I think there is a.
Let me interject for just a second. I think, unlike certainly in the internet era, and for sure in the social media era, I do think you have people that are thrust into the limelight, into the forefront. That when I use lottery mentality, I think about those people who appear to have gotten something for nothing. The Casey Neistats, the people who just came out of nowhere and are all of a sudden just ridiculously rich, and it seemed to just happen. That's what I'm saying. And I'm like that. So, but that's not real. I guess that's such a 0.001% of the population. No, but I'm saying they see the end result. They don't see that decade that goes into it.
They think of Casey Neistat, they're like, oh, he just makes
right.
He's easy, but he daily vlogged for a year straight. How hard that is to do. Vlogging what you did yesterday and uploading it today.
I know, but isn't that the same thing as looking at a doctor, say a heart surgeon who's financially stable, has everything that what on the outside appears to be fantastic, and they go, wow, isn't he lucky? No, man, he went to school for 8 years and then spent however many years getting to that level. So I'm saying they don't see the 20 years that went into this result.
That's just the mentality. People look at the road ahead of them and they say,
maybe it's always been like that though.
But they look at the road ahead of them and all right, I'm going to do every single thing to get me to where I need to be, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
I do think a distinction that sometimes is made, and maybe this isn't generational, it's just attitude, is you'll look at someone like that and someone will say, that's an ill-gotten gain. He got there because he's lucky, or his dad was whatever, instead of using that person as an inspiration to say, I want to be like that guy. I want to do what I have to do to be like that person, maybe not a doctor, but maybe in my field or what. I want to be great. I want to be excellent. And I think that quest for excellence and using those people as a source of inspiration cripples people sometimes. When you don't have that, when you say things like I said, he's lucky or he cheated, or no, probably not. He just probably put in the work. And unless you're willing to put in that work, you're not going to see a similar result. What?
Okay.
What?
That sums up part 3.
Oh, we're talking about the book. Oh, that wasn't in the book. Sorry.
No, but it all goes to the generational component or aspect. I think it'd be interesting at some point to do the podcast with the younger people. Yeah. And
sorry.
no, with Madeline, with Harrison, with Holden, with, you know what I mean? And get their
sometimes
input.
Though, I think people don't have the life experience, and that's where I think, and you have.
It does.
Because it's easy for me to go. I remember, I'm sure as a 16-year-old, I would look and say, or 17-year-old, I want this, or this is what I think I have to do to get here, and adults going, maybe, but you really need to do X, Y, and Z first.
I think that, in terms of bringing people on the podcast, I think bringing people like Holden,
sure,
Johnny would probably be more beneficial, because people like my friend grew up in, Madeline and all that, they're a lot like me, where
right.
Madeline's way more hardworking, but that's What?
No, it's good. That's nice.
Madeline is more hardworking.
She is, absolutely. No, I wasn't laughing at Madeline being hardworking. I'm laughing at the fact that
you're willing to admit it.
That you recognize it, and that's an attribute. You see that as an attribute.
A lot more odd jobs than I have.
Yeah.
She does. She doesn't take any crap. If it was me, if I got barbecue sauce instead of ketchup, I'd be like, whatever. I guess I'll just stick with it. Madeline would be like, no, sir, I need ketchup.
Well, she also used to be a server. She understands. She's like, if I'm paying you, I'm going to tip you. Give me what I want.
I'm not talking about just food.
You're here to serve. No, seriously.
I'm not talking about just food. I'm talking about something in general.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going on how many minutes? 50 minutes. We're at our cue, aren't we, Harrison?
No, well, it's fine. It's a good podcast. Let's keep talking.
No, we've got children at home. We need to get home
exactly.
too.
Let's keep talking.
And this episode is pre-recorded. We'll be back with a live podcast next week.
Yes.
And I want to make sure people check out the merch store because we've got our fancy dancy. Do you want to throw us one of those again?
They're not on the story yet.
Okay. If you want one, you could always send Harrison an email.
I haven't had Zach take.
A special request. We need to do that when
You know what
Dr.
we
Poll
need to do?
starts.
We need to take listener questions, and if somebody submits,
We do take
and
listener questions.
Okay, well then we should send them a hat or send them some merch.
Well, Kevin self actually emailed a question in, but it's for the All-Star podcast, not.
It's for the All-Star podcast. I need to put my star in the front. There we go. I need to get my dad one of these too.
Branding.
But Dr. Dudley bought her granddad a shirt.
Oh, that's so cute.
Her grandpa was like obsessed with shirts from like different businesses or something like that.
Yeah, that's a
weird.
great idea. A lot of people do that.
He lives like in another state far away. I don't know where. But
So we've got check out our merch
It's another
store.
state far away. There's 49 choices.
And so at All-Star ASVCmerch.com. And then, listen to us on the podcast channels. And we will have some special guests soon.
Yes, we're gonna do something fun. I think we're just. I think I came up with this idea when we were in Phoenix is to do some in between casts.
Okay.
What?
So we have that as well.
Yes, coming soon.
Okay. Sounds terrific because I don't know what that is, but I'm
No,
all
it's
for it.
around the fire.
Oh, okay.
Around the fire and in other places to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really yes.
Sounds like a plan.
It sure does.
Okay.
Glad you're paying
All right,
attention.
everybody. We'll see you next time on Five Boys and a Business.
We're out.
Thanks for listening.